Oh, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me. This webinar this morning is on investing in SMSFs in your, investing in pink diamonds in your SMSF. And we have a very special guest with us, diamond expert
Yeah.
Terry
Okay,
Hunt.
thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.
So we do have Terry on the line joining us.
Hello.
So, hi, Terry. Thanks for
How are
joining us
you?
today. We got there. Yeah. So yes. So it's great to have you here with us. We're going to basically be talking about pink diamonds today, which is very exciting. And Terry has actually lent me a beautiful necklace. This necklace and these earrings, which are pink diamonds. So that's very exciting. So I'm going to wear those with pride today. So thank you very much, Terry, for lending me
You're
those.
welcome. See how happy you are when I ask for them back.
Yes, unfortunately, I do have to give them back. So anyway, so I will be wearing those today for the webinar, which is exciting. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about the compliance aspects of investing in diamonds, pink diamonds, in your SMSF. And we also have Terry on hand, who is our diamond expert, because he is going to fill us in on pink diamonds. He is the quintessential expert in Argyle Pink Diamonds. And he's also going to be, which is very exciting, he's going to be showing us some of the pink diamonds that are available to purchase and telling us the ins and outs of pink diamonds. And it's rare to have someone who is so experienced in pink diamonds. So thank you for joining us today, Terry. So let's kick off today. We just want to run through quickly just with a quick disclaimer. So I'm an SMSF expert. I run an accounting practice based in Perth. We do specialise in SMSFs. That's all we do. I do hold a licence to provide advice around SMSFs. So we do deal with all aspects of SMSF, setting them up, winding them up, everything in between, all strategies and everything. However, I do not provide investment advice. So in today's webinar, I am not providing you advice to invest in pink diamonds. I'm merely setting out that it's one option that you can invest in. So if you did want to invest in pink diamonds, you need to do your own research before proceeding. And of course, you can get advice from a financial advisor. And likewise, Terry would have the same disclaimer. He does not hold a AFSL, so he's also not providing financial advice. Is that correct, Terry?
Absolutely. I say that to everyone. I can talk about pink diamonds.
Yeah, excellent. So to start off, I'm just going to run through quickly some of the compliance aspects just to set the scene, and then we're going to get to, I know everyone's excited about the actual diamonds, so we'll set the scene and then we'll get into the diamonds themselves. So the format today, I'm going to run through the compliance aspects of investing in diamonds in your SMSFs, what you need to watch out for, how to keep the auditor and the ATO happy. Then Terry's going to talk about the diamonds themselves, and then we'll do some questions if there's any questions. We do want to stick to the time limit, which is an hour, so we'll be moving through quite quickly. Now, the nature of today's webinar is in the context of a self-managed super fund. So most people joining us today, of course, do have a self-managed super fund, which obviously is a super fund that you manage yourself. after rolling over or contributing money in yourself, and then you can choose a investment option, Pink Diamonds being something that you can invest in. So what do we have to abide by? So we've got the SIS Act and the SIS regulations, which combined we refer to as the super laws. Now, we do have this overriding sole purpose test that um, we have to be compliant with. Now, the sole purpose test is basically that we have to, everything that we do, the primary purpose has to be to provide retirement benefits to the members of the self-managed super fund. So that means we can't have any immediate benefit from our self-managed super fund. So to give an example, when investing in Pink Diamonds, we need to be making good investment decisions, choosing Pink Diamonds that are good investment decisions for the benefits of the members of the self-managed super fund. So to give an example of a breach of the sole purpose test, if we were purchasing diamonds with the view that we like those diamonds and we later on going to make a piece of jewelry out of them, we don't have the money to buy them ourselves personally, and we want to basically finance them by using our SMSF money, that could be seen as a breach of the sole purpose test. So we have to be careful not to breach the sole purpose test. After that, the key legal requirements we have is the trust deed. We need to make sure we're compliant with the trust deed. That's something that we review for all our clients. A good trust deed, it won't specifically say, you can invest in Pink Diamonds. They're wide enough where investments in Pink Diamonds are allowed. And then we have a specific investment strategy. All super funds, self-managed super funds will have an investment strategy tailored to the specific fund, and that's something that we help all our clients with to make sure that they're compliant. So once we've ticked off all of those things, the other thing I just want to mention is diversification. So the ATO is big on making sure that your super fund is diversified. So for instance, if you've got $1 million fund and you're investing, 80,000 in a Pink Diamond, you're diversified. Diversified just means the old saying, not having all your eggs in one basket. However, if you've only got 300,000 in your SMSF and you put the whole lot into a Pink Diamond, you could have an issue with diversification. There's nothing to stop you from doing it. The ATO are not financial advisors, so they can't tell you can't do it, but it just means that you will need an expert like myself to make sure that you cover off with a whole lot of extra compliance documentation. Now, something I did want to mention, which is very important, and myself and Terry talked about this a lot, is the ATO did come out in December and make it clear that Pink Diamonds are not collectibles. And those of us who have been in the industry for quite a while have had to deal with this issue for quite a long time. And I've argued with auditors for years about it. And it hasn't been the auditor's fault because the ATO have never had a clear position on it. But basically, there was a question as to whether Pink Diamonds are collectibles or not. Now, why does that matter? Because if Pink Diamonds are collectibles, there's a whole lot of extra rules that you have to abide by, which can be problematic. If we have a look, if you want to go to the ATO website in your own time, so you go to ato.gov.au and you type in QC 73738, the ATO actually has a whole page dedicated to Pink Diamonds. Now, who would have thunk it, Terry, that the ATO would have a whole page dedicated to Pink Diamonds? But they do. So that just shows how popular they are, that they're having to deal with and answer questions on Pink Diamonds. But they basically come out and said that categorically, Pink Diamonds are not collectibles. And this is what they've said specifically. Natural diamonds, including pink diamonds, when held in loose form, and that's important, are not considered collectibles. Trustees and auditors should note these rules only apply for diamonds held in loose form. This means the diamond cannot in any way be mounted, integrated into, or used as an item for adornment or other purposes which would be inconsistent with the holding of the diamond in loose form. Now, what does that mean, Terry? Can you
Well,
interpret
we can
that
show you
for us?
quite clearly. I don't know
Yeah,
how well this camera is going to work, but that there, can we see that?
yeah, yeah.
Now,
Perfect.
that's a loose diamond. That's what
Mm-hmm.
we're really talking about.
Yeah.
So pink diamonds can either be something like that, a loose single stone in a box, or it could be, what else? Something like that one there. Can you
Mm-hmm.
see that? Is that one in focus?
Yeah, yeah.
There you can see
Perfect. Yeah.
like a little collection of stones,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all loose in a box. They could be mounted, but they are not.
Mm-hmm.
So the stones can be taken out, they can be tested, they can be checked, valuations can be done on them, all of those things without having to take them out of a piece of jewellery. So they're not mounted in any way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. So once you stick it in a piece of jewelry, it becomes a collectible. Basically, loose stones, not collectibles. Now, the ATO goes on to say, despite not being subject to specific requirements, so basically, despite not being a collectible, we would recommend trustees hold adequate insurance and consider appropriate storage requirements. So they're basically saying, look, we're not bound by the strict rules under collectibles, but we still would recommend you store them appropriately and have insurance. And I'll touch on that later on, how insurance has been problematic. But I want to go over to Terry now because that's basically what we're all here for. Um, Terry, can you tell us, um, basically explain to people the history of the Argyle diamond mine and also your involvement through Soklich, and your history with the pink diamonds.
Okay, so very basically, I got into the diamond trade back when dinosaurs ruled the earth, 47 years ago now. Argyle mine was discovered a little less than 40 years ago, developed, and for the last little over 30 years has been producing the vast majority of pink diamonds that exist on the planet. It's a very peculiar mine. The diamonds did not crystallize in the normal way at all. The diamonds crystallized under the Earth's crust approximately 1.5 billion years ago. They were just brought to the surface through geological process. So I'm quite proud of the fact I'm a West Australian, and this is a West Australian unique commodity in the world. There are pinks produced around the world in other countries, but we're dealing with a vanishingly small amount of material. Argyle is responsible for more than 95% of all of the pink diamonds that exist on the planet. And it closed in November 2020. So from that point on, no new material from Argyle has come onto the market. They've had nothing new going through their processing plant. The mine has been in the process for a year or two now of being rehabilitated to be returned to the traditional landowners. So the mine cannot be reopened. They've closed the mine. So we have found, as a supplier of pink diamonds, that the pink material is getting harder and harder to get hold of from the traditional cutters that we would deal with. And so we're finding more and more that prices are escalating in any economic system. They're all based on supply and demand, whilst there was even when you consider Argyle was the biggest supplier of pink diamonds in the world. Do this for me, Susie. Hold your hand out. Cup your hand, hold your hand out. Just one hand. Just one hand up there. So this hand right here would be able to hold every single pink that came out of Argyle in the last 2 years of production of that mine. That hand right there would hold everything. And that's going to everybody. That's going to Brad Pitt in Hollywood. That's going to the anonymous millionaires and billionaires in around the world, as well as Ma and Pa here in Western Australia. So we aren't dealing with a product that was ever, when we say Argyle produced 95% of the world's pink diamonds, it makes it sound like there's a lot. No, it's a vanishingly small commodity. And that supply has now been cut off. Once you've cut off supply, demand is still the same. People still want diamonds. They still want pink diamonds. And so that only has one effect on the end result of the price. The price has only got one way to go. So we've been finding that pink diamond prices have been traditionally throughout the life of the mine have gone up very roughly, and this is not financial advice, but very roughly, I would say a 10% year on year increase in price would be a poor performing pink diamond. Some stones I have found that have gone up pretty much overnight. You can find them pretty much suppliers doubling prices on us. We would go to buy some stones 1 week, get quoted a certain price for them. You go back a week later and they're a whole different price. And this is diamond dealers. I've dealt with diamond dealers 30 years. I remember discussing that with one of my suppliers with a particular grade of pink and saying to him, look, I've dealt with you for 30 years. I know your dad. I was dealing with your dad back in the day. If you don't give me a good price, I'll just call him. He's retired years ago, but I still got his phone number. And I'm like, and they're still turning around to me and saying, no, we don't care how friends you are. This is the price and that's the way it is, because there just isn't any new material coming onto the market.
That's amazing. And on that point, Terry, there's always this myth with diamonds that basically the price is manipulated because whoever controls the diamonds has this stockpile of diamonds that they're just they release onto the market when they feel like it. So I do get asked this question a lot. Is there a stockpile of diamonds that Argyle Mine is holding on to?
I would pay you $1,000 for the phone number of the company or the person that does that has that. There was a report in the paper in the West yesterday. Argyle have put together the very last, they've swept the bottom of their safe. They're clearing out all of the last remnants of pink diamonds they've got. They put together a little auction of about 40 pieces, and they were actually buying stock back from some of their traditional large dollar value buyers, and they were buying stock back to augment that auction. And that's happening right now as we speak this minute. Now, my view would be Argyle would absolutely not. There would be no one. If there is any pinks available on the planet, I work for an organisation that has spent 30 years knowing everybody who deals with pinks. If there's someone who's cutting pinks, if there's someone who has pinks available, we know them. We've made it our business to know who they are. And so if you tell me, hey, yeah, there's this allegation that there's somebody around with a big pile of pinks, I want to know their phone number. I'll pay money for that phone number.
Now, the $1 million question always, Terry, is so, I've got this diamond, my valuation's gone up every year on paper, which is great news for me, hypothetically, of course. This is the question I get asked by clients a lot. But how do I go about selling the diamond? You need to have a buyer. So it always comes back to the liquidity of the diamond. Are there actual buyers out there, and how do I go about selling the diamond?
So we've had a number of different approaches to this. One of my clients a couple of years ago sold a pink diamond. She came to me. We looked at what we could offer her for a stone that she had purchased from us some years in the past. And I was able to come up with a price for her. But I said, look, you'd be crazy not to explore your options everywhere on the planet. She took a scan of her certificate. She took a photograph of the stone. She simply popped that in an attachment on an email, and she just Googled pink diamond dealers around the world. She flicked that email around to everybody, found a dealer in New York who's prepared to offer her $22,000 more than I was prepared to offer her for the same stone. I remember she sat across my desk from me and said, look, these people in New York are prepared to offer me 22,000 more for this stone. And she said to me, Terry, what should I do? She didn't like my suggestion. I said she should just let me buy the stone and then give me the phone number of the people in New York. So you can do that. You can the best way for a client who I'm dealing with who wants to sell a stone, I say, is if you can sell it directly to an end user yourself, that's great. A lot of people don't have that confidence, don't have that ability, don't want to necessarily do that. So there's an increasing secondary market springing up with people opening up diamond. There's a pink diamond exchange where people are looking at just putting them onto, let's say, a website, and you can put up your own price, and they will charge you a set commission for a stone, and you can put your stone up on their website, and that's becoming a go-to place for even people like us to find stones for clients because they're becoming like if you're trying to if you're putting a listing on eBay or on the internet for a single stone, that's not very attractive to all of the pink diamonds around the world, diamond dealers around the world. But if you've got 200 pink diamonds listed, suddenly that website becomes something that Van Cleef and Arpels in Monaco might be looking at to purchase stones. So we're finding that those websites are springing up now. We specifically are looking at that. And the other side of that coin is also for us in terms of in our future. The only place within a year, my expectation would be is that every supplier I'm dealing with will not have material anymore. There will not be anything left for me to buy. The only place I will be able to buy stock will be from people who already own it.
Wow,
and that means then that I'll have to buy from people with stones in SMSFs.
Wow,
So
that's fascinating.
we've already taken stones on consignment with people, so people can sell the stones outright to us. They can put them in on a consignment with us. We can agree a price of what they want for their stones. So there are some options out there. There are, of course, if we do the job, then we're looking at making our margin on that. And I say to people, explore all of your options because you want to make sure that you get the best result for you. It would be crazy not to try and investigate if you can sell the stone to somebody for a better price than, for instance, we at Soklich Co would be prepared to offer for a stone.
Okay, that's fascinating, Terry. So let's get to the good bit. So you have some diamonds. Can you run us through, and specifically, can you talk about what, as an investor in an SMSF, what should we be looking at when we're, looking at investing in a diamond? And a lot of people don't even know. So there's various PPs as far as the diamond goes. Can you run us through, just give us a basic education about pink diamonds in a very short space of time?
How come is it nowadays that girls only ever want to talk to me when I've got diamonds in front of me? I'll put up a basic diamond chart. See if you can you see that one?
Yeah.
Can you make out what's going on there? So we have a diamond chart of different grades of pink. Now, the pinker stones at the top here, those are the ones that are in the shortest supply. They always were. And right now, anything like that on the market, it's like having that fixer-upper house. You don't even need to advertise it. You just need to whisper it to somebody, and everyone will know somebody who wants to buy that stone, because they are just unobtainable. So we deal with this, and we say, okay, so the pinker we go, so the more up towards this scale. So we deal with purplish pinks, we deal with straight pinks, we deal with pink champagnes, so pink rosés, and then pink champagnes. So the pinker we go, the deeper the pink, the more valuable the stone will be. So then it's
Terry,
up to a client.
would a 1 pp, are they the most expensive, and then like
Yes,
a 7 pp is not as expensive? Is
that's
that how it
exactly
works?
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you can usually, going up, if we look at this chart, going up a step will usually go something like doubling your value.
Mm.
So to go from a 6 pp to a 5 pp can quite literally double your price. And I can actually even give you, I've brought along a couple of stones just to show you. Here's two little half-carat diamonds. They're pear shapes. Okay. I need to put my glasses on so I can read what I'm
And
doing
Terry,
here.
can you tell us too, does the shape make a difference?
Yes, rounds are always the most popular. That's the most popular shape of diamond, full stop, regardless. White, whether it's used in an engagement ring, an eternity ring, or anything, whites are always the most popular. But in the world of pinks, the pinkness is going to be by far the most important thing to do with a stone. A pinker stone will always be more valuable than a less pink stone, but rounds will carry a price premium. So these are two stones that we happen to have. They're pear shapes. One is this one here is a fancy intense purplish pink, so about a 5 pp grade stone, and the other is a 7 PR. So we've gone down a grade in color on this one, up a grade in color, up quite a few grades in this. But if you look at it, those two stones could be used even as almost like a matched pair in a pair of earrings. One of those stones is worth a little ways under $50,000. The other is worth a little ways over 130. So you're dealing with just the color difference between those two stones. They're the same size, same shape. They are comparable. We're dealing with comparable stones. Just gives you an idea of how much the difference of the color grading goes. And I have a little matched pair of small. See, those are really small little 7, 8 point pinks. One of those is half the price of the other because one is less pink than the other. So it goes across the board. You can be dealing with $1 million stones. You can be dealing with $5,000 stones. It all depends on the big thing is on this color chart is where we sit. The pinker we go, the more value we have in the stone, the more desirable that stone is. Now that doesn't necessarily sort of equate to that's where I would necessarily go. Some people want to have just a row of pinks. Some people just want to have even just a representational set of this mystical product that only ever really came from Western Australia. So we deal with all sorts. We deal with, here's a really little set of properly pink small little set that would make I think, they would end up being a really beautiful piece of jewelry. And at the end of the day, we've also got to figure out that these stones only have value because they will make a nice piece of jewelry. So properly pink, those are 3 pp's, so they're very high on the scale of pinkness. That's right up here on our pink scale.
And
So we
what's the
have stuff
value of
like that.
those, Terry?
Those ones are about $20,000. But just to, I like to, I'm quite proud of the fact that, okay, we can do all sorts of stuff. So there's that. Here's a little set. These are 2 little pinks. There's little cube zirconia in the middle there, just to show off that you would use those pinks in, let's say, an engagement ring or a pair of earrings or something like that. So the center stone is just there for decoration. It's just a little cube zirconia. It has no value. Just the pinks are what we're looking at there, that little pair of pinks. And that small pair of pinks there, for instance, sell at around about $700.
Wow.
So
Terry, just going back to the previous set that were very pink, I
yeah,
think, were they 4 pp?
they're threes, those
3
ones
3
there.
pp, and they were
Be,
about
be
20
fast, those are like
20,000, were
hen's
they?
teeth.
Sorry, were they
Be
20?
fast, those are like hen's
Yeah, were
teeth.
they 20,000? What were they?
They're 22.
Yeah, so 22. So the thing that's good about sets in an SMSF is what you can do is split them up, of course, and sell them off. So,
Yes.
so that's not a bad idea in an SMSF either. So if you're thinking about if you were selling them to a jeweler, I mean, you could sell, a couple for him to put in earrings and a couple for him to put, in a ring. So it's not a bad strategy. I didn't think that up myself. That's something Terry taught me a long time ago. So
Well, again, it goes back to that thing where you said diversification. Even when we
mm,
have clients coming in and looking, and we will often get clients who come in and say, "Oh, yes, I want to spend $300,000 on a pink diamond," and I'm like, "Well, why don't you spend
mm,
$100,000 on a show pony, but then spread some more out into some little sets of this and
mm,
that, because that just gives you far more
mm.
adaptability."
Yes,
It's
Terry's
it's
very good if you've got a budget of however much you want to spend. Terry's very good at splitting it up into different parcels of diamonds. So that's something he is good at and explaining how that all works. So yeah, that's the other thing I was going to ask you. So there was an article in the West during the week, which is pretty amazing, talking about how there was some high rollers coming into Perth and snapping up the last of the pink diamonds, which just shows how much interest there is in pink diamonds, how it is becoming something very mainstream, whereas maybe a few years ago it was a bit of a fringe investment. But um, I think they mentioned in that a 1 carat pink diamonds of good clarity was selling for several $1 million. So what would you put the value of a 1 carat pink diamond at?
Well, if you've got a carat, and
Mm,
there's that's a magical number.
yeah.
Girls love to hear that. I want 1 carat in each ear, thank you, sweetheart. That would be fabulous. In pink, a nice 1 carat, and I would be suggesting that if we were dealing with something, let's say sort of a good stone, let's say a 5 pp, something like this sort of color here, good 1 carat in that size would certainly sell at in excess of $1 million.
Mm, yeah. Okay, great.
The
All
scary
right.
thing is, and
Perfect.
I love this bit, is 1 carat is 20% of a gram. It's a fifth of a gram. So you need 5 carats to make one whole entire gram. And that's valuing the product then. If it's $1 million for a fifth of a gram, that's $5 million per gram. So I look at it and think this is the most valuable substance that you could buy on the planet.
Yes, I have heard that before.
I don't
Okay.
know of anything. I don't know anything that gets to $5 million per gram.
No, that's very true. So we're going to move on at this point and just talk about some of the requirements if we are investing in an SMSF that we have to tackle to keep the ATO and the auditor happy. And then we will answer some of your questions. If you've got a question for Terry or you've got a question for myself, just pop it in the questions down the bottom and we'll answer it at the end. So basically, there are several requirements. So these apply to all assets in an SMSF. The first requirement is you do have to keep your assets separate from your own personal assets, which means that you are required to show that the SMSF owns basically the pink diamond. So how do you do that? Well, there's no title for a pink diamond. So the best way is to ensure that any purchase documentation is in the name of the SMSF. And also, when you're storing the pink diamonds, just make sure that what you're storing matches what you purchased. And what else? Oh, and also that when you purchase the diamonds, that you use funds out of the SMSF bank account. So that basically covers off on that. You're also required to have the diamonds because the trustees must give a market value of all assets every year. So you are required to have a valuation done every year. Now, that is required to be done by an independent valuer. Now, if you have your diamonds stored in a storage facility, that's easily arranged. The last one is storage and insurance. Now, you can store the pink diamonds in a storage facility. Now, I do like the setup that Terry at Soklich Co has, in that they do have a storage facility on site, which makes it very easy with the transition of pink diamonds. As you can imagine, you don't really want to be transporting the diamonds, somewhere because there's security issues there. So it's fairly seamless. You can purchase them and then they will automatically put them in a safety deposit box, so you don't need to be handling them. So you can arrange storage. And the last thing I wanted to touch on is insurance, which has been problematic when there's been a question around whether pink diamonds are collectibles or not. Because if they are collectibles, one of the requirements is that the SMSF had to have an insurance policy in their own in the SMSF name, in their own name. And usually, what happens is they're stored in a storage facility, and the SMSF, of course, does not own that the storage box that they're storing them in. And the insurance is usually part of it's a package deal, so you get the storage box and you get the insurance with it. But because they don't own the storage box, basically, it's very hard to get the insurance in their name. So that has been an ongoing problem. But with them not being classed as insurance, as collectibles, then yeah, that's not really an issue any longer. So as long as you've got that storage box and you've got the insurance, then your requirements would be to show as a trustee that you are acting for the benefit of the members and you're safeguarding your assets, and you would be able to basically show that you've met that requirement. So they're basically all the requirements that you would be asked to meet, as far as keeping the auditors and the ATO happy. So that's good news. And if you're using someone like myself, an SMSF expert, we would basically guide you through that whole process. So so you would not have to have any concern that you're going to fall foul of the ATO or the auditor. Now, one question I do get asked a lot is if you've got your pink diamonds in your SMSF, can you take them out once you start a pension? Now, we did mention about breaching the sole purpose test at the beginning. So, as long as you're not breaching the sole purpose test, then yeah, it is okay. Now, you don't have to necessarily have started a pension. There are various rules, as in when you as SMSF can only buy certain assets from a related party, but there's not the same rules when a related party, as in yourself, is buying when a SMSF is selling assets to a related party. So an SMSF can sell any of the assets to yourself. The only requirement is that you get a market value from an independent qualified valuer, which is easy to arrange. So as long as you've got that valuation, then that's easy to do. So you can do that at any time. Now, once you have, you don't necessarily have to start at a pension. If you've met a condition of release, you can also withdraw the diamonds as an in specie lump sum, so you can do that. Or if you started a pension, you can of course take them out. Now it technically can't be a pension payment because pension payments have to be in cash, so it would be an in specie payment, which would technically be a commutation. And we just have to be careful. If we do a full commutation, we can trigger capital gains tax. So that's when you need a specialist like me to assist, so that doesn't happen. We're just going to move. We do have a few questions that have come in, so I just want to have a look what questions we have. So I've got a question for Terry. Oh, I love this one. I have been asked this by a client as well. So, hi Terry, I bought a pink diamond years ago. Would it sell better if I had it set into a ring?
The simple answer is no, because if you have it in a ring, then you have a piece of jewelry that someone may or may not like. If you have it in a box, then that person can look at it and say, oh, gee whiz, I'd like that in a white gold ring, in a pendant, in a this, in a that. They can make it into anything they want. So I would say that by far the best way, and we have dealt with this a little bit in terms of we've had people with stones in jewelry who have wanted to sell them. And I say by far the best thing, remove the stones from the jewelry and put them back into a box and then sell them. You'll get a better price than you would be as a piece of jewelry. One of those people is my wife. She's got, you might imagine, she's got a few bits and pieces of pink jewelry with sort of like investment pinks in them. And I regard the jewelry that I've made up for her with the pinks in, that's rental. If we need to come to the stage where I need to sell those stones, first thing that's going to happen is that piece of jewelry is going to be taken apart and the stones taken out.
Absolutely, Terry. And I've been asked that question as well. One of my clients actually had their diamonds valued independently, and the jeweler gave it the advice that they would sell better if they put them in a setting. And I wondered whether he was just trying to sell her some jewelry, because I just found that to be very strange advice. I would have assumed that it would sell better as an investment piece.
Anything like those little sets that we've spoken and we've shown today in the boxes, they have the potential to be anything. And so therefore they're much more attractive to more people. Whereas once you put it into a piece of jewelry, you've got to rely on someone liking your taste, liking what it is that you did with them and wanting what it is. So if you've got a fabulous little set of pinks in an eternity ring, but somebody else wants a set of pinks in a pair of earrings, then that ring is not going to be of any interest to them. So that's one potential buyer less in the market for your stones.
Mm.
More buyers there are, the better off you are. And if you've got the stones loose, that's everybody.
Okay, another question for you, Terry. How do pink diamonds compared to diamonds in other colours?
Well, that's a good thing. That's a really, really interesting question. Give you an idea. Here's a stone I prepared earlier. See, there's a yellow. That's
Didn't know you were
a
bringing other colours.
yeah. Now we deal with all sorts of colours. Here's something. This is probably the rarest set of stones you'll ever see. There's a really little. See, those are little blues. Those are Argyle blues. Probably 1/100th as many blues came out of the mine as pinks. So yes, there are other colours. Any coloured diamond is valuable as a collector's item. The pinks are the most recognised, most easily dealt with. But we also have people who have invested in blues. Blues of because there's so few of them, they've been performing very, very well. The trouble is that there's a very small customer base that wants them because there's so few people who even know they exist. Yellows, there's many more on the market, and you saw with this yellow that I have. See how that's a nice big stone. That's a carat and a bit, carat 13, I think that one is. So you could invest in a yellow. That stone there is just about $20,000. If it were pink, that'd be $1 million more. So with other colors means that you can deal with differences in sizes, and that can be, I think some of the yellows can be absolutely beautiful. The yellows I would consider to be where pinks were about 25 years ago. Interest is just beginning to spark. And how many of us wish we were able to go back 25 years and buy, gee whiz, I can remember 25 years ago, a carat pink being $25,000. Imagine being able to buy that stone today.
Interesting.
Please tell me who's got that. Who's got that? I want to talk to them.
Okay, so next question. I'm going to answer this one. Since there is no requirement to store loose diamonds externally as they are not deemed as collectibles, how can the member guarantee they do not have early illegal access to them if they are yet to meet a condition of release? So the wording in the ATO guidance is we recommend that you take out insurance and store, your pink diamonds. So yeah, there's no must directive there from the ATO. So yes, you could. Yeah. So I'm assuming from the question is you could store those diamonds at home in a home safe. Now, I do get asked this question by clients in terms of storing gold or pink diamonds. Can you store it at home in your home safe? Technically, yes, you can. I always discourage clients from doing that. You know, even from a safety security point of view, do you want to have, diamonds and gold in your home? The other thing is the difficulty in proving to the auditor the existence of the diamonds as at the 30th of June 2024 each year. Because what is the auditor going to do? Are they going to come to your home and view those diamonds? So the only way we've been able to prove to the auditor the existence of the diamonds or the gold as at the 30th of June 2024 would be to do something like a photo of the diamonds with a copy of a newspaper dated the 30th of June 2024, something like that. But it's not ideal. So it would not be my advice. My advice would be to store it securely in a safety deposit box. You do have an obligation as a trustee to act in the best interests of all members. So that's one of the covenants. So do bear with that in mind as well. So it would not be my advice. So yeah, that's basically the answer to your questions because, you do have to prove to the auditor every year that basically those those diamonds do exist. So that's that's how you basically get around. Otherwise you're not going. You do have the temptation of the member, um, withdrawing the money under early illegal access, and we do have that temptation with other assets like gold, which they can dispose of, so those sort of things. So hopefully that's answered your question. Now the next one, I'm going to get Terry to answer, which is there any data available to show how the price of pink diamonds has changed over time?
That's a little curly insofar as no. In ball terms, no, there isn't. I've had that as a question throughout the time that I've been dealing with pinks. People always want to know, okay, where's, like, you can look at a graph and see the price of a particular share or gold or other assets, but diamonds, pink diamonds, or any of the coloured diamonds, there really isn't anything like that. The only thing I can sort of go to is to suggest, okay, look at the prices that were being paid for pink diamonds 20 years ago and look at the prices that are being asked for those stones today. And you will see, all right, there's no definite database you can go to say, okay, they've been increasing by 10, 15% a year. But in the lifetime of the mine, pink diamond prices have relentlessly had this upward trend. It never once dropped in price, and still even today, right now, as we speak, are going up. So yeah, it's not possible to point to any database and say, look here, go to this website that's got the prices for the last 20, 30 years. Even when I'm dealing with suppliers now, I'll find someone might have, let's say, a little set of 6 pp stones that I really like, and I might have to buy, let's say, a carat of those stones. One supplier might have them at a much lower price than another, so I'll buy from that supplier. But once I've bought all of his stock, my next option is the more expensive supplier, and so next year's stock is going to be that price.
Great. Okay, and I've just got one last question. Susan, if I make a capital gain when I sell the diamond, how much tax will I pay? So we always want to know about the tax. So basically, if you're in accumulation phase, which means you haven't started a pension in your SMSF, if you've held the diamond for more than a year, which hopefully you have, you'll pay 10% tax, because it's 15% tax in an SMSF, and you get 1/3 discount. So you'll pay 10%. So that's pretty low anyway. And then if you're in pension phase, it'll be tax free. So we have answered all the questions, and we got through all the material. We saw a lot of amazing diamonds. I got to wear some pretty cool jewelry. So this necklace that I'm wearing is about 13,000, if I remember correctly. And the earrings, I think, are about, let me see, my earrings about 6.5, I think. It's about 20 grand for the set if you wanted to purchase them. So I'll have to meet up with Terry later today and return them, sadly.
I thought you were going to disappear out the back door.
No,
Run away.
sadly. Yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed our webinar today, and you've learnt a lot about pink diamonds and how you can invest in them in your SMSF. I'm doing a series of webinars. So this was the first one on one of the investment options. I'm going to run through a series of investment options. The next one is going to be on property with Perth's property it girl, Ashley Goodchild, and she's often featured in the media. So if you want to check that one out, it's on Monday, the 4th of November at 10:30. How can you find out about that one? You can go to our website, which is www.susanoconnoraccounting.com.au. You can sign up to our newsletter there. If you scroll down to newsletter, sign up, subscribe there. What else is there? I've written an ebook. The ebook's available for $15.50. You can purchase that. What else? What else was I going to say? If you've got any questions or you want to email me about anything, you've got any feedback, you can email me at susan@o'connoraccounting.com.au. And I'm going to go across to Terry and see whether Terry's got anything. Where can you find Terry? Now, if you've got a diamond you want valued, you've got a diamond you want to sell, you want to ask Terry about diamonds, how can you contact Diamond? I'm going to go across to Terry and see what he's got to say.
I'm always up for talking to a pretty girl about diamonds. Best thing, come and see us in the shop. We're over there in South Perth, Angelo Street. Come and sit down, have a chat, have a coffee. We'll show you some bits. If you're interested, fantastic, wonderful. If you decide it's not for you, then fantastic, wonderful. It's always best to get into the shop. We can actually physically show you what you're looking at and what your options are.
Okay,
Pop in and
fantastic.
see us anytime.
Awesome. And of course, you can follow both of us on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn. Best thing, of course, is to be one of our clients because our clients, we've got a special event coming up as well, exclusively for our clients. So, of course, it's better to be one of our clients. But yeah, we'll sign off today for our webinar. And thank you all for being here and for giving up your time to attend this event. Hopefully it's been enjoyable. I want to thank Terry very much for joining us and bringing all of his amazing diamonds with him.
Susie, it's always a pleasure to have a chat with you.
Okay. Thank you, Terry.
Thank
and
you.
I'll catch up with you soon.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.